Hello, everybody, and welcome to Friday Apocryphal Podcast, your one-stop shop for everything Friday Apocryphal and podcast. And boy, do we have a show for you today. Today we are covering the Testament of Job, chapters 16 through 26.
Yeah.
Oh my God! What a stutter off.
Hey, we got there.
There's a lot of chapters.
We're gonna play the "We Did It" song
book.
again.
They're not super long chapters, but in this book they have them sectioned off.
There's 53 chapters.
Yeah, so there's quite a few chapters, but it's not they're not super long, so we should be okay.
All right.
Yeah. So last time
we covered 15 chapters.
We did, yeah. So Satan is much more of a character in this than in other
versions.
In other works, yeah.
And Job is much different in some ways. He himself is a different actor. Like, I think he resists Satan, and Satan's like, God, how come I can't influence this guy, right? That was the whole thing.
This Job, and so instead of Satan going to God and asking for permission to do this thing, Satan just kind of does it.
Yeah, and then he interacts with God.
Yeah. After he fails.
Yeah. So I have the Old Testament Pseudepigrapha, Volume 1, by James H. Charlesworth, which contains the translation of the Testament of Job and commentary by R.P. Spittler.
Yeah, Spittler, that's right. Not an amazing name. I've heard better names.
He is the dude, man.
He'd be the joke wrestler in our lineup of, biblical scholar wrestlers with fun names.
Yeah, seems like a lot of them are like that.
So this section, Job's losses, is chapters 16 through 26. And this reaction narrates the sequence of Job's losses, in turn his cattle, his children, his health, finally his wife. The order follows that of the canonical story of Job 1:14 through 19.
Yeah, so I'm guessing here we get some exposition on all that stuff.
Yes, literary exaggeration is used, but with restraint.
Yeah, with restraint, my ass.
I threw the universe, but only a little.
We also have a pretty detailed interaction between Satan and Job's wife as well.
Yes.
Which I don't remember us getting in the
new.
canonical Job.
No, there's a lot of details.
Isn't Job's wife pretty heavily glanced over in some ways, other than her leaving?
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyways,
that seems to be very popular with biblical wives. Very, very glanced over.
The one where they just said she existed and then died.
That was
Ezekiel.
I know that's a different person, but yeah, Ezekiel's wife. That's who it was.
Yeah.
Hilarious amount of entry for her.
Yes.
No name.
Rip in peace.
Mentioned
Ezekiel's
by
wife.
dying.
Yep.
And she was there.
Yep. So this first chapter is about his cattle. 17 through 19 are about his children. Chapter 20 is about his health, and his wife takes up chapters 21 through 26. So we're going to get a lot more details on Job's wife than we ever did in the Bible.
Yeah. And that's a good thing. Thank you, author of the Testament of Job.
I'm sure that
it's probably a pretty crazy story. It usually is for these things.
Yeah. So let me hop into it then with chapter 16. As I was doing these things during the 7 years after the angel had made the disclosure to me, then Satan, when he had received the authority, came down unmercifully and torched 7,000 sheep, which had been designated for the clothing of the widows, 3,000 camels, and the 500 she-asses, and the 500 yoke of oxen. All these things he destroyed by himself, according to the authority he had received against me.
By himself? Okay.
Yeah, so there's details on this. First of all, chronological details appear elsewhere in the Testament of Job. And
I'm assuming this would be in the same order as things happened in Job, but we just get more stuff about them.
Mm-hmm. There's some disagreement with manuscripts. According to P, Job spent at least 48 years on the dung heap outside the city. After 11 years, his bread ration was reduced, producing a famine crisis that would have lasted 6 years, since it was in the 17th year that Sithis invited Job to blaspheme God and die.
Yeah, that's his wife, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, according to P, the visiting kings came in the 20th year, reviewed Job's situation for 27 days, after which Job recovered. P lacks the longer ending of 53:8 found in SV or Slavonic, so that this witness is not bound by any length of years for Job's total lifespan. As for S, it is only by the addition of the longer ending, which resembles Job 42:16, that S varies from P in its chronology. With V, the matter is quite otherwise. By omission and alteration, a believable 7-year period of testing is ascribed to Job and uniformly maintained. For V, the spreading of incense took not 3 days, as in P and S, but 3 hours. V's artistry emerges again in its own version of the longer ending. Only V calculates how long Job lived before his plague, 85 years, apparently derived by halving the 170 years that, according to the major Septuagint manuscript, Job lived after his recovery. That V's total for the years Job lived is not the expected sum of 255, but 248 finds V haplessly recording the traditional figure for the length of Job's life. This feature alone should preclude a wrong-headed expectation of chronological perfection in an apocryphon where the interest lies quite beyond the mathematical accuracy. In summary, P's scheme is not really self-contradictory, although it is rather artless and certainly less believable than V's consistent 7-year scheme. S simply accords with P except for its longer ending.
I like how he's saying, it's less believable than the other one. And I'm like, are they really? Like, is that how you want to describe those? I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at Job here just to kind of compare the order of things. So, of course, this is really early on in the first chapter that everything is taken away, right? And there came a messenger to Job and said, the oxen were plowing and the donkeys feeding beside them, and the Sabaeans fell upon them and took them and struck down the servants with the edge of the sword.
So that is a difference, because in the Testament of Job, Satan
does it himself.
Torches them.
Yeah.
Himself. The rest of my herds...
Oh, wait, hold on.
Wait.
Wait,
hold on.
Okay.
The rest of my herds were confiscated by my fellow countrymen, who had been well treated by me, but who now rose up against me and took away the remainder of my animals. They reported to me the destruction of my goods, but I glorified God and did not blaspheme.
Okay, so I'm continuing on here. While the oxen and the donkeys seem to have been kind of killed by the Sabaeans, it says here that the fire of God fell from heaven and burned up the sheep and the servants and consumed them. And I alone have escaped to tell you. It's the one guy.
Oh, so, I mean...
Oh, no, sorry. Okay, so yeah. There was one guy that was going to Job. He was like, hey, the Sabaeans came upon this group of animals and slaughtered them. But then another servant came and said, hey, this group of animals, a fire had destroyed them.
Yeah, so it sounds like these are in accordance. They're just in a different order.
Looks like it.
And they aren't reported by a servant. They're just stated by Job.
Yeah.
Now we're in chapter 17.
Wait, really?
Yep.
Yeah, short chapters.
Yep. Then the devil, when he had come to know my heart, laid a plot against me. Disguising himself as the king of the Persians, he stood in my city, gathering together all the rogues in it.
Yeah, that's right, because last week he pretended that he was like a homeless guy.
Mm-hmm. So this is the second disguise of Satan.
Because if you missed the first episode, Job was apparently very, very rich, and he was a king, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was giving.
He's the king of Egypt.
Yeah, he was giving.
He's an Edomite, but he's the king of Egypt.
You know.
But yeah, he was giving charity.
And not just giving charity. People could just walk into his house and take things.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd just freely give them sheep and stuff too, I think.
So
You give him a lot, yeah.
So here he's the king of Persia. Appropriately, only another king could rally opposition to Job, the king of all Egypt. And what better king, conveniently here left nameless, however, than the king of Persians, who in the person of Cyrus, to name but one, had previously shown kindness to the Jews. Disguised thus as a royal benefactor, Satan could appeal to Job's countrymen the more convincingly. Choice of the phrase may reflect the author's conviction that Job lived in the Persian era. And with a boast he spoke to them, saying, "This man, Jobab, is the one who destroyed all the good things of the earth and left nothing, the one who distributed to the beggars, to the blind, and to the lame, yet the one who destroyed the temple of the great God and leveled the place of drink offerings. Therefore, I also shall repay him according to what he did against the house of God. Come along then and gather spoils for yourselves of all his animals and whatever he has left on the earth." They answered him and said, "He has 7 sons and 3 daughters. Possibly they might flee to other lands and plead against us as if we were tyrants, and in the end rise against us and kill us."
So is this how they're going to explain the killing of the children?
Yep.
Or how they're going to justify it?
So he said to them, "Have no fear at all. Most of his possessions I have already destroyed by fire. The others I confiscated, and as for his children, I shall slay them."
There you go.
Yeah. Chapter 18. When he said these things to them, he departed and smashed the house down upon my children and killed them. In Job 1:18, this is a great wind.
Let's see, Job 1:18. Yeah, while he was yet speaking, there came another and said, "Your sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their oldest brother's house." And behold, a great wind came across the wilderness and struck the 4 corners of the house, and it fell upon the young people, and they are dead. And I alone have escaped to tell you.
Yeah. My fellow countrymen, when they saw that what was said truly happened, pursued and attacked me and began to snatch up everything in my house. My eyes witnessed cheap and worthless men at my tables and couches. S has a longer reading. My eyes saw those who make lamps at my tables and couches, cheap and worthless men they were.
To make lamps?
Yeah, I guess like craftsmen.
And I guess that's a bad thing?
According to Manuscript S.
Oh, all right.
Yep. I was unable to utter a thing, for I was exhausted, as a woman numbed in her pelvic region by the magnitude of birth pangs. Remembering most of all the battle foretold by the Lord through his angel and the songs of victory which had been told to me. The point of this striking parable of the beleaguered mariner lies in Job's expressed willingness to see his vast wealth plundered, buoyed as he is by the hope of eventual improved survival as the angel promised. It is tempting to wonder if the author of the Testament of Job may have intended a connection with the promise of 4:9, "You shall be raised up in the resurrection," in a mood similar to Hebrews 11:8 through 16. Although the notion of a heavenly citizenship with earthbound living thought of as a sojourn emerges strongly in Christian circles.
Yeah, it pops up a lot, especially when let's consider like Hellenistic Judaism. It started to get more apocalyptic then. Their views on the nature of the afterlife slowly began to change, and eventually you have Christianity arise from that.
Yeah. All right. And I became as one wishing to enter a certain city to discover its wealth and gain a portion of its splendor, and as one embarked with a cargo in a seagoing ship, seeing it mid-ocean, the third wave, and the opposition of the wind, he threw his cargo into the sea, saying, I'm willing to lose everything in order to enter this city so that I might gain both the ship and things better than the payload. Thus, I also considered my goods as nothing compared to the city about which the angel spoke to me. So this third wave is popularly, sometimes the 9th or 10th, held to be the most devastating one, as in Plato's Republic.
Was there a third wave in Plato's Republic that was the most devastating?
Recall a third wave, but I'm sure it's there. It's in Republic 472A.
Okay. Well, if anyone wants to go check that, I don't think we have a copy of it.
Not here.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure the copy that I have doesn't have the markers like 472A.
Okay.
Yeah. Chapter 19. When the final messenger came and showed me the loss of my children, I was deeply disturbed. And I tore my garments, saying to the one who brought the report, how were you spared?
That's a good question. I don't think he ever got an answer to that in Job. He didn't even ask in Job.
Yeah. And when I understood what had happened, I cried aloud, saying, the Lord gave, the Lord took away. As it seemed good to the Lord, so it has happened. Blessed be the name of the Lord. That's the end of chapter 19.
Wow. So just...
My children died.
How did you survive?
God gives, God takes away.
Yeah, fucking.
It's just what God wanted.
Yep, this is how it had to be. Sorry, Job. What can I tell you?
Yeah.
Like at this point, I would be suspecting that guy of murder.
Yeah. I'll hand
little
it off.
sus.
I'll hand it to you after this next one.
Okay.
This chapter is on his health, and you'll start talking about his wife.
Okay.
Chapter 20. So when all my goods were gone, Satan concluded that he was unable to provoke me to contempt. When he had left, he asked my body from the Lord so that he might inflict the plague on me. Then the Lord gave me over into his hands to be used as he wished with respect to the body, but he did not give him authority over my soul.
Okay, so now we have like an express thing of permission.
Mm-hmm. But not permission for his soul.
No, not for his soul. No.
Then he came to me while I was sitting on my throne mourning the loss of my children.
It's like, yeah, you can beat the shit out of the guy. Just don't kill him.
Yeah. So he's sitting on his throne mourning the loss of his children.
Mm-hmm.
And he became like a great whirlwind and overturned my throne. This reminds me of that demon in the Testament of Solomon, who is like a whirlwind who they trap in a vessel.
Yeah, that's right. I forget the demon's name.
Me too, but he was friends with the Red Sea demon, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was probably important.
I mean, in the end, like nothing really happened. So
Well, they got a pillar.
I guess that's true. They got a pillar.
Mm-hmm. Well, he also moved one of the stones to finish the temple. Maybe analogous to that all-important stone.
Yeah, the one that, like, just to finish it off, the one at the top.
Yeah. For 3 hours, I was beneath my throne, unable to escape. So, P followed...
He was trapped under his throne. Okay.
Yeah. P, followed by Slavonic, has Satan on the throne. V puts Job on the ground. S is followed in this translation as giving the necessary sense. And he struck me with a severe plague from head to toe. In great trouble and distress, I left the city, and I sat on a dung heap, worm-ridden in body. So the Testament of Job follows the Septuagint, Job 2:8. In locating Job outside the city, no such statement is made in the Masoretic text. The crucifixion of Jesus, in line with common practice, was effected outside the city.
Yeah. So checking in the ESV, it's not in there about him being outside the city. But Job 2:8, why am I in Zechariah?
Probably because we're reading Zechariah
That would make sense.
in Sunday show.
Yeah, but now I have to go find Job. So it's supposed to be Job 2:8, right?
Yes, Job 2:8.
Okay. Yeah, give me a bit. I'll find it.
All right. So the detail of Job's illness seems to be worked in the narrative of the Testament of Job from the more poetic plaint of Job at Job 7:5. Worms, which were said to accompany certain cases of illness, became a Jewish, then Christian eschatological forecast for the ungodly. It is boils that afflict Job according to the Septuagint and the Masoretic text, but the Testament of Job speaks of Job as worm-ridden. A similar feature appears in Visio Pauli 49.
I did end up finding the thing about where he's at.
Yeah.
And this is like, so right after Job 2:8 in the Masoretic, like this is added in here in the Septuagint. And when much time had passed, his wife said to him, "How long wilt thou hold out?" saying, "Behold, I wait yet a little while, expecting the hope of my deliverance. For behold, thy memorial is abolished from the earth, even thy sons and daughters, the pangs and pains of my womb, which I bore in vain with sorrows, and thou thyself attest down to spend the nights in the open air among the corruption of worms, and I am a wanderer and a servant from place to place and house to house, waiting for the setting of the sun, that I may rest from my labors and my pangs, which now beset me. But say some word against the Lord and die."
All right.
There you go. That's all added in there for you.
Even more significant, however, is the similar tradition in Tertullian, De Patientia. It says, in this work, written before he became a Montanist, Tertullian clearly reflects Testament of Job 28f in a vivid, if vulgar, passage. Quote, "How God laughed. How what was already lacerated was the more mangled when, with laughter, he would call the little beasts breaking forth back into the pits and pastures of his furrowed flesh." End quote. So much resembles the passage, but De Patientia shows other parallels to the feature of the Job story not found in the Septuagint. It appears warranted to conclude that Tertullian utilized the Jewish Testament, praising patience as a source for his own treatment of the same theme. So, some details on Tertullian for you. Returning to the chapter. "Discharges from my body wet the ground with moisture. Many worms were in my body, and if a worm ever sprang off, I would take it up and return it to the original place, saying, 'Stay in the same place where you were put until you were directed otherwise by your commander.'"
Jesus.
Yeah. There's a note on this.
Oh, he's here on Sunday.
The worms.
Commander's here on Sunday? Okay.
Jesus.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true. Jesus the commander.
No, Satan's the commander of these worms. The worm's forced compliance with its ordained role shows a touch of humor on the part of the author, who elsewhere associates animals and humans by having the cattle mourn over the death of Sithis. Acquiescence in one's fate has links with a well-known Stoic principle. Quote, "Fate is said to be the cause of all that is, the rational principle by which the world is managed." The
Determinism. Not in the same way, but determinism.
yeah. The incident of the replaced worms functions as but one more way to extol the virtue of patience. Curiously, while the commander is in the author's mind, it's assuredly God, it is nevertheless Satan to whom Job's plague is just attributed.
All right, so now we're on to Sithis, right?
Yes, and I will hand it over to you, starting with chapter 21.
Chapter 21.
Yeah, and if you're enjoying the stream so far, guys, give us a like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, family, neighbors, countrymen who are trying to raid your home and steal your things and kill your children, whirlwinds.
Okay, so this is completely unlike this isn't even included in the Masoretic. Right, in the canonical Job, this isn't even included. But here we learn about Job's wife. Because we have the destruction of everything else, right? His children, his flock, his health. But you don't really hear too much about the wife.
Yeah.
So let's learn about that.
Let's do that.
First things first. Siddhis enslaved.
Oh, no.
Because this is how we begin readings about women, apparently. I spent 48 years on the dung heap outside the city, under the plague, so that I saw with my own eyes my children, my first wife, carrying water into the house of a certain nobleman as a maidservant, so that she might get bread and bring it to me. I would think she would want some of that. I was stunned, and I said, "The gall of these city fathers! How can they treat my wife like a female slave?" After this, I regained my senses. So, right here it just has
48 years.
Yeah, right. So it looks like most of the notes here are about different readings between manuscripts.
Right, and as we noted, there can be a difference in the amount of years.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So it looks like none of these are too important. Although this last note, after I regained my senses, literally I regained my patient capacity to reason. It's another reference to the patience motif. And we get it later on as well in the Testament.
All right.
So Siddhis. Oh, sorry. That was actually the end of chapter 21. By the way. Yeah, that was that.
And chapter 22 is also a short one.
Yeah. I think these next few though are a little longer.
A little bit.
Yeah. All right. So chapter 22. After 11 years. They kept even bread itself from me, barely allowing her to have her own food. And as she did get it, she would divide it between herself and me, saying with pain, "Woe is me! Soon he will not even get enough bread."
What about you?
So unlike the speech of Siddhis, which is in chapter 24, these words have no counterpart in the text of the Septuagint. So the thing that I read before is in the thing that I read out of the Septuagint. It looks like it's basically quoted here in chapter 24. So,
but we're not in chapter 24 yet.
No, not yet. But just looking ahead.
Yeah.
So apparently she worries a lot about his bread.
Yeah.
So, it looks like there's a deal here coming up. Siddhis sells her hair to Satan.
Yeah, that's one way to get money, I guess.
That is true. She would not hesitate to go out into the market to beg bread from the bread sellers so that she might bring it to me so I could eat. That's how that starts. It continues on in chapter 23, which we are now getting into because that was apparently chapter 22.
Yep. Very short chapters here.
Yeah. When Satan knew this, he disguised himself as a bread seller.
Of course.
What was that movie? Master of Disguise, the one that sucked?
Yeah.
It was a bad movie.
Thanks.
But Satan is a master of disguise. But he
Clearly.
probably sucks at it too because they've known that it was him twice now, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's just coming with like
It's like
no pants.
He's
but,
not
like, just
really-
the top half on. Got goat legs still and stuff.
Yeah, he's got the goat legs, he's got horns, he's got the spiky tail,
It's-
and he's just like wearing a different shirt.
Yeah, now I'm
Yeah.
homeless. See,
Or sometimes he can be wearing like one of those nose and glasses things.
oh
like
gosh,
one of those.
yes.
Yeah. And the mustache.
Now I'm a
Groucho
bread
glasses.
salesman.
Yeah, I'm a bread salesman. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
It happened by chance that my wife went to him and begged bread, thinking he was a man. And Satan said to her, "Pay the price and take what you like." That is how selling works. But she answered him and said, "Where would I get money? Are you unaware of the evils that have befallen us? If you have any pity on me, show mercy. But if not, you shall see." Wait, hold on.
I'll show you.
So, okay, so she's begging for food at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And Satan's all like, "Hey, if you pay for this product, I'll give it to you." And she's like, "How am I supposed to get money?" And it looks like she's being kind of aggressive.
She's aggressive. She's guilt tripping him.
Yeah, she's guilt tripping.
She is being aggressive.
She's like, "You'll see what happens if you don't give me stuff." Like, oh shit, okay, that sounds a little too far.
But I think that the real message,
Like, you should give to the poor, but like, if they threaten you, leave.
I think that the real message here
It's a real Milwaukee
is
message.
that the evil is found in capitalism.
Thank you.
Nice, very nice. Seize the means of production. All right.
Yeah.
Let's continue on here. And he answered her, saying, "Unless you deserved the evils, you would not have received them in return." That's not true, Satan. You're letting me down.
He is letting you down.
It's never gonna give me up. Of course, that's an idea that we have seen throughout all of like in ancient Israel, like the whole this wouldn't have happened unless we deserved it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's very common, and very common in the book of Job.
Absolutely. Now then,
Speaking of which,
Yeah.
I wonder when we're gonna get to Job's friends.
let's see if they're even in here.
Yeah, they were like the biggest part
Well,
of.
Yeah, because the whole point of Job is like, hey, this guy, they really went to the end because it is more of a wisdom text than anything else. You have this brief narrative about this guy who just gets completely fucked by Satan and also God, kind of, and all to test his faith. And then, of course, he's going to not want to believe this stuff because, like, he thinks he should be getting good things. And he knows he doesn't deserve all those bad things. So his friends, instead, are pretty much just kind of talking him out of it. I mean, they're all arguing, a little bit differently. But the whole point of Job that we've discussed before was that it's not supposed to explain the problem of evil.
Right.
It's not supposed to tell you why bad things happen to good people, but they still believed it anyways, even though, even though their entire, so much of their theology is based on bad things shouldn't happen to good people. They do anyways. I don't know. Like they considered that they had somehow deserved the exile, right? But like you would think that they also thought that they didn't deserve it.
Well, the ones who thought that they didn't deserve it don't get written about because their faith wasn't strong enough, Lawrence.
Of course.
Warp.
It's just a very weird moral outlook because it can be.
This guy's literally like, my children all died. Well, the Lord gives, the Lord takes away.
Right, yeah. So now then, this is Satan still talking. Now then, if you have no money at hand, offer me the hair of your head and take 3 loaves of bread. Perhaps you will be able to live for 3 more days. Then she said to herself, what good is the hair of my head compared to my hungry husband? What?
It's like, oh, well, it's for my husband, so I guess I'll do it.
Oh, yeah, okay, sure, okay. I thought that, okay, so this is a rhetorical question. I thought that it wasn't. I was like, what answer are you looking for? All right, so
Rhetorical.
And so, showing disdain for her hair, she said to him, go ahead, take it. Then he took scissors, sheared off the hair of her head, and gave her 3 loaves, while all were looking on. When she got the loaves, she came and brought them to me. Satan followed her along the road, walking stealthily and leading her heart astray. Leading her heart astray?
No, did God give him permission to
Lead her heart astray?
Job's wife's heart astray?
I don't think so.
No.
No.
It's breaking the rules.
Right. So on this hair thing, I'm guessing it's supposed to be like a shame thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's the story of Samson, right?
Yeah, but that's like I feel like that's a different one because
Well, in that, his hair is a symbol of his faith, right?
yeah.
Here, it's just like shameful, I guess. No, I guess
that's
she
what
had.
I'm guessing.
Presumably, she had nice hair.
Yeah. So no mention was made at 19:2 of Job's own head shaving, listed among the grief reactions at Job 120. Shaving of the head in the Testament of Job is not a sign of grief, but of disgrace, as it is also at 1 Corinthians 11:6. Right, that's right. Oh my God. Like, okay, I'm gonna read this thing from Corinthians, and this has been used like in so many, like, it's usually in smaller sects now. You don't, in like smaller churches now, you don't really find it too much in mainstream Christianity, or at least people really caring about this. But I'll read this this off here.
1 Corinthians what?
1 Corinthians 11:6.
For if the woman be not covered, let her also be shorn. But if it be a shame for a woman to be shorn or shaven, let her be covered.
Yeah, so the disgrace might arise from chopped hair as a mode of humiliating punishment. Yeah, that's what we're going with. All right. So here is the speech of Sithis.
Is this a new chapter?
This is a new chapter, chapter 24.
All right.
At once, my wife drew near. I don't know why I keep saying it like that.
Why?
I think it's funny. I like it. So at once my wife drew near, crying out with tears. She said to me, Job, Job, how long will you sit on the dung heap outside the city, thinking only a little longer and awaiting the hope of your salvation? As for me, I am a vagabond and a maidservant going round from place to place. Your memorial has been wiped away from the earth. My sons and the daughters of my womb, for whom I toil with hardships in vain. And here you sit in worm-infested rottenness, passing the night in the open air. So I think she's bringing up a point of, like, why don't you help?
Yeah.
Like, because she's doing a lot. She sold her hair. She was out, trying to
works
get
as
bread.
a slave.
Right.
She begs for bread, and he just sits on a dung heap.
And he's like, oh,
I'm so sad.
I really hope something goes good.
But moreover, he's waiting for his salvation. But the salvation that was promised to him is that he'll be resurrected in the end times, right? So he's literally just waiting to die.
Aren't we all?
And then he'll wait for the end times, and then during the end times, he'll wait in heaven, and you'll just wait there. It's a waiting lounge.
It'll
That's
be
what
fine.
the new heaven is.
And I, for my part, am a wretch immersed in labor by day and in pain by night, just so I might provide a loaf of bread and bring it to you. Yeah, so this is why he was all like, Satan was leading her heart astray.
Yeah. Because she has legitimate complaints.
Yeah. Anymore, I barely receive my own food, and I divide that between you and me, wondering in my heart that it is not bad enough for you to be ill, but neither do you get your fill of bread. So I ventured unashamedly to go into the market, even if I was pierced in my heart to do so. And hold on, there's a note here. So the testament, so there it's textually unclear. V smooths the text, and the bread seller said to me. So the translation is conjectural.
Mm-hmm.
So even if I was pierced in my heart to do so, and the bread seller said, give money and you shall receive. But I also showed him our straits, and then heard from him. If you have no money, woman, pay with the hair of your head and take 3 loaves. Perhaps you will live for 3 more days. Being remiss, I said to him, go ahead, cut my hair. So he arose and cut my hair disgracefully in the market, while the crowd stood by and marveled.
Wow.
So yeah, that was literally just her bringing up a very serious issue, because they've been there for a while now, right? Outside
48 years.
Yeah. Or that was 11, right? Because there was the whole thing where it said that 11 years in.
No, it said, and after 11 years. So it might be 48 years with the addition of 11 years, being 59 years. But it might be 11 years into the 48 years.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Anyways, let me take over.
Don't do it, Lawrence.
Yeah, so you have a lament coming up. Have fun with the lament. But yeah, so she has very serious complaints about how after all this time, she's kind of the one that's been toiling and suffering to bring any semblance of nourishment to her and Job.
So
And then Job, while sick, it's definitely a bummer. But has he been sick that long? Like, what disease was this exactly? He had like sores, right?
he had sores, he
All
had
the way
worms.
up and down.
Worms.
Yeah, up and down his body. Like,
Worms are bad.
yeah, I mean, I guess you can't really do much, I suppose.
Sounds like bot flies.
Yeah, you can't really do much, I suppose, but I don't know, you could do something.
Yeah. So we have a lament here, and there is a lengthy note before this even begins. It's called A Lament for Sithus. It's possibly an interpolation inserted at a logical point, just following the report of the reaction of the crowd to the cutting of her hair. Omission of the lament for Sithis leaves undisturbed the continuity of the narrative. Inclusion of poetic pieces appropriate to the narrative context but abruptly inserted without introduction is paralleled at First Maccabees in numerous places. This lament for Sithis contrasts her former wealth and charity with her present state in a way very similar to the description of Job's pious generosity, followed by the recital of his losses, and corresponding exactly in form to the lament for Job in the Testament of Job 32, 2 through 12.
Hold on, did this place ever get a new king? Or is he still the king?
He's still the king.
Huh.
Where's the king?
Where's
He's on a pile of shit.
Where's the court? Like, I'm sure he has like a court, right?
Um,
Like advisors, maybe?
nah, they're not mentioned.
All right.
As Job commissioned charitable missions to the poor and set up free food centers in his own home, Sithis did likewise. While Job's wealth is described in terms of cattle, bakeries, and jewels, more feminine objects figure in the wealth of Sithis. Draperies, a gold and silver foot basin, expensive clothing and furniture. Such connections between the descriptions of Sithis and Job argue against viewing 25:1 through 8 as an interpolation, a point strengthened by the fact that the similar lament for Job is carefully worked into the prose context. The ABCB-DBE pattern, which also characterizes the lament for Job, appears elsewhere in Jewish poetry, most clearly Psalm 136. While the repetition of a line is found in the pure lament form, the taunting quality of the refrain in the lament for Sithis more closely parallels the prophetic mocking songs sampled in Revelation 18, with its thrice-repeated refrain of doom for Babylon. The form of the lament for Sithis thus represents none of the earlier purer forms of a funeral dirge. In fact, the lament is occasioned not by death but by disgrace, as that for Job was occasioned by privation. Since laments were recorded and passed on traditionally, the appearance of the lament for Sithis at this point in the Testament of Job is not surprising. The Testament of Job's own term is a royal lament, in which the refrain served for antiphonal response. The sharp temporal contrast between what one was and what one has become in a tragic direction is used at Ezekiel 27:32-36. What amounts to an inverse lament, contrasting a former disparaged with a present blessed state, appears in Christian literature, as in 1 Corinthians. So, this may be an interpolation, but it may not be. That's what it comes down to. Chapter 25. Who is not amazed that this is Sithis, the wife of Job, who used to have 14 draperies sheltering her...
Apparently Chris isn't amazed.
I am not.
No. But Chris isn't amazed by anything. We could literally have pigs flying in this room and speaking perfect English, and he'd just be like, oh, yeah, that happens.
I got used to it pretty quick.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a video game that has that.
There's an anything that I made up in my head. Who cares?
If only Job just imagined bread to eat.
Yeah,
Job. He would be fine.
Yeah, I've been doing that the whole time. Haven't eaten. I just imagined I did, and I feel great now.
Yeah. He's a breathitarian here.
No, imaginary.
Don't ever do that, anyone in chat.
Oxygenarian or whatever?
No, it's a breatharian. No, it's breatharian, I think.
Breatharian? Is that real or is that
no?
the
That's
joke?
that's real.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
Eat food, drink water.
Yes.
Yep. Anyways,
Public service announcement.
Who's not amazed? This is Sithis, the wife of Job, who used to have 14 draperies sheltering her chamber and a door within doors, so that one was considered quite worthy merely to grant admission to her presence. Now she exchanges her hair for loaves, whose camels, loaded with good things, used to go off to the regions of the poor. Now she gives her hair in return for loaves. Look at her, who used to keep 7 tables reserved at her house, at which the poor and alien used to eat. Now she sells outright her hair for loaves. See, one who used to have a foot basin of gold and silver, and now she goes along by foot. Even her hair she gives in exchange for loaves. Wow. Observe, this is she who used to have clothing woven from linen with gold, but now she bears rags and gives her hair in exchange for loaves. See her who used to own couches of gold and silver, but now she sells her hair for loaves. Wow, that is... she's really upset about this.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah. Now we're in a different subsection of this chapter. The speech of Sithis concluded.
Okay,
That's
great.
the end of the lament.
Yeah.
She's lamenting her hair. Her station in life.
Well, hold on.
She brought up her
Justin,
hair.
2 loaves for the left side. Hey, I don't know if I can afford 2 loaves.
I'll give you half a loaf.
Maybe 1.5 loaves for each side. How about that?
Yeah.
Give me a slice of bread for your beard.
Job, although many things have been said in general, I speak to you in brief. In the weakness of my heart, my bones are crushed. Rise, take the loaves, be satisfied, and then speak some words against the Lord and die. Then I too shall be freed from weariness that issues from the pain of your body. Wow. That's pretty dark, huh?
Yeah.
The word speak and die, it's actually a Hebrew euphemism inviting Job to curse God.
Okay.
And now we're in chapter 26.
Yeah, that's the last chapter of the day. See,
Yeah.
while we had a decent amount of chapters, wasn't very long because they're pretty short.
Yeah. Chapter 26 is Job's response.
Oh man, this is gonna be
God
like
took your hair. It's fine.
no. He's gonna okay. Hold on, I want to take a shot here. So is he gonna say something like, "You bitch"? Stop nagging me or something like that.
Something like that, actually.
Oh, okay.
So I answered her, "Look, I have lived 17 years in these plagues, submitting to the worms in my body, and my soul has never been depressed by my pain so much as by your statement. Speak some word against the Lord and die. I do indeed suffer these things, and you suffer them too, the loss both of our children and our goods. Do you suggest that we should say something against the Lord and thus be alienated from the truly great wealth?"
I don't think she said that at all.
From the Hebrew euphemism.
Oh, right. Of course.
Why have you not...
But like before that, she had very reasonable things to say.
Yeah. Why have you not remembered those many good things we used to have? If we have received good things from the hand of the Lord, should we not in turn endure evil things? That is very different from what is said in the book of Job.
Yeah. Because now it's kind of like, hey, 50-50.
Yeah. Hey, if you're going to get some good, you got to get some bad too. So
It's a contrast.
we had a mansion, so now I have to have boils and worms and sores all over my body and sleep on a dung heap. You know?
Fair trade.
Oh, that's life.
Yeah.
Next time I cook something, how about this? I make you a cake, a nice cake. You can have the whole thing, but I'm gonna kick you in the balls too.
Oh,
Balance things
You
out.
want that cake?
no.
Yeah.
Rather, let us be patient till the Lord in pity shows us mercy.
Hold on. Do you only kick me in the balls when I eat the cake?
No.
No,
Oh.
it's when he gives it to you.
Well, that never mind. Otherwise, I could have
Or
my
you-
cake but not eat it.
Like I could give you the cake, and then you could eat it, and then I could kick you in the balls afterwards.
Better.
While you're
Give
eating
me
it.
the cake.
No, not while. No, because it has to be two different times. First, you have to have a good experience, and then a bad experience.
Well,
or
maybe
a
it's
bad one, then a
like
good one.
after tasting the cake, but before like digesting.
These are important things
Yeah.
we should
These are
discuss.
the real questions we need to ask because of Job.
Anyways, do you not see the devil standing behind you and unsettling your reason so that he might deceive me too? For he seeks to make an exhibit of you as one of the senseless women who misguide their husband's sincerity.
At this point, I kind of am believing that Job is just paranoid. Like every person he sees, except his wife, is Satan. It's like, see that bread seller over there? That's the devil himself.
Yeah. And that's the end of chapter 26.
Yeah, so definitely short for today, but it was sectioned off pretty well, I think. Let's see, we got coming up. Oh, it looks like Satan is should we spoil it?
We're not
Oh,
going
no,
to
it's
spoil
Not
it.
gonna spoil it. Okay,
No,
not gonna spoil it. But we do eventually get his friends,
Yeah.
who are kings, by the way.
Yeah.
Everyone's
Ooh.
a king.
Who wouldn't be friends
You
with
get
kings?
a crown, and you get a crown.
If you're a king, who are you friends with? Other kings, I guess.
I suppose you
There
can't
you
have
go.
normal friends.
Well, that's everything we were covering today. If you enjoyed the show today, be sure to check us out on Patreon, where you can get yourself all sorts of goodies. You can be on the show. You could even, if you're sick of all those Black Friday deals, bumming you out, you could pay full price for a T-shirt on our Teespring.
And if you're a patron, if you're a $10 patron or more, you could be included in, or you will be included in the T-shirt giveaway, the monthly T-shirt giveaway, because we do that first Sunday of every month. We give away a T-shirt.
Yeah, that's the real Black Friday deal.
It is,
except it's on the first Sunday of every month and not a Friday ever.
And
it is,
and you're still technically a patron, and then you just get the shirt if you win the thing.
Yeah, but there's other goodies on there, other reasons to be a patron.
Yeah. You get video scripts, for example, for more of our long form content.
You can get, according to your evidence, unicorns exist.
You could get that. That is true. You do get that.
The ability to read. You could get that.
You can count yourself among the highest society
members.
That's true.
Yeah.
Big brained, 5-head. You get to be part of that community, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we have. We have a wish list, an Amazon wish list.
Yeah, tons of books on there. So many books, in fact, that there's more books on there than there are on this table.
That is true. Yeah.
Even though there's how many books on this table? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 books on this table.
It's pretty good.
Even more on the wish list.
That is true. And very good ones on the wish list.
Yeah.
I mean, I sure hope so. We haven't read them, but
pretty
sure they're pretty good. The reviews are great.
Other people say they're really good.
Yeah, or they were recommended. Either way, okay. We also have Facebook and Twitter. Free to follow us on those platforms. All links are in the description below.
Yeah, so join us next week when we'll be talking more about Job's struggles. And on Sunday when we're going to be halfway through the penultimate book of the Old Testament.
Yeah, we're going to continue Zechariah.
Yeah, and how many chapters are we reading on Sunday?
Probably 3 or 4.
4?
I'll decide.
I think we have to do 4.
I think we probably have to do 4.
Yeah, we have to do 4.
Okay.
But we'll be reading some Zechariah. It'll be a blast.
I mean, let's hope. And then we just have Malachi, and we're done with the Old Testament.
Yeah, so join us.
And we will
see you on Sunday and then
for
Friday.
Zechariah.